Hello everyone and welcome to my latest tutorial, and today it's very similar to the Scott McTominay one and the Frank Lampard edits or manipulations that I did a few months ago, but this one is Lionel Messi, and it's just paying homage to the great Maradona. Obviously Lionel Messi scored a goal and he celebrated by revealing a Newell's Old Boy shirt that Maradona wore back in the day. And I've got the 1986 football there as well, acting as a bit of a glow, bit of a feature in this image. And yeah, it's just a tribute to Maradona. So again, I hope you follow along and you enjoy it. So I'm going to get straight into it. So throughout today, if I'm doing any shortcuts, okay, I'll say them out loud just so you know what I'm doing. But it's probably not for the beginner or the basic learner. Go check out my other videos. I've got loads of tutorials on this one. I'm going to be going through curves, different adjustment layers, masks, paths, all that sort of stuff. And if you're familiar with Photoshop, you'll know what I'm talking about. I won't be explaining it all in this tutorial, so please do go check out the rest of my channel and the other videos. But without further ado, I'm going to create a new document. So I've pressed Command N there on my Mac. So I'm going to go for what did we say, 1200 by 1600 pixels. We're going to go 144 resolution, and we'll go for a white background. I'm going to click OK. Just let that load up. OK, went for a black background. OK, I'm just going to get rid of that. And again, throughout today, I'm just going to be clicking backwards and forwards through this edit, just make sure I get everything right. So I'm going to press Alt and Backspace. I'm going to fill it with white. OK, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in and drop my ground. And I'm just going to drop the ground in there, and it's the same terrain that I used for the Frank Lampard one. So I'm just going to place it roughly around there. We don't want to take up too much of the image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit P for my pen tool, and I'm just going to cut off the top of the edge. Okay, you don't need to be super accurate with that one. Okay, just cut along. Pretty simple. Okay, obviously make sure you've got path selected, and I'm just going to hit mask there. I'm going to select it, and boom, it's gone away. I'm going to press Command D. In fact, I'm just going to hit Enter, and there we go. Next, I'm going to bring in my clouds, so I'm going to select my bottom layer there for the layer, and then I'm going to bring in these clouds. What I'll do is I'll link these in the description below. This cloud is a stock image I've had on my computer for a long time, so I'll try and find this exact image. If not, just any storm clouds will do. I'm just going to position that somewhere around there. Press Command 0. Okay, I'm just going to downsize it a little bit, nudge it down, and I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to bring in Lionel Messi, so I'm going to select the top layer there. I'm going to bring in Messi there again from Footy Renders. Great image of Messi. And I'm just going to downsize him to just plonk him somewhere there. Let's size him up. Yeah, let's compare him. Okay, he's a little bit bigger on this one, so I press Command T. Just using my arrow keys, and there we go. Hit Enter. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the ball as well while I'm here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to one of them in front of the cloud, so I'm going to select this layer here. Okay, I'm going to bring in this Mexico 86 ball. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hide Messi for a second. Okay, I'm going to select the ellipse tool over here by pressing U. Make sure I've got path selected. I'm going to hold Shift down. Okay, I'm just going to create a circle. Press Command T. And I'm just going to position it so I'm getting an actual proper decent circle. And I'm liking the look of that. And again, I'm going to hit mask. And there we go, hit Enter again. And it's disappeared. And if we bring Messi in, there we go. You can see him. So I press Command T. Okay, and I can just adjust the size of where I want the ball. So obviously this was the ball that Maradona won the World Cup with, and also scored the hand of goal with. And we'll go for something like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to double click it just in the grey off the wall. I'm going to add an outer glow. So these are settings I had on before, so I had opacity at 80%, noise 0, make sure you've got white selected, technique softer, spread 0, size 60, and range 70. And what we can do is I can always come back and adjust it. I think I moved that up to 125. Later on, I'm going to click OK. Okay, so there's our initial part of our image. Okay, now I'm going to add a hue saturation layer, so just let me have a look where I positioned all that. Yeah, it was near the top, so I'm going to go to adjustment layers and hue saturation. I'm going to drop it down to about -30. And I'm going to do some curves as well. I'm just going to drop that down, bring that up, bring that down. Can't remember. I like it nice and dark. And we'll go for a photo filter as well. I think we went for the warming filter, 25. Check 45. Let's see what we went for on here. Went for 60%. Yep, went for 60% on the photo filter. So I'm going to bump that up. We can always go back and adjust these if they don't work out. So that's fantastic just there. Okay, let's have a look. Screen, overlay, soft light. We'll keep it on normal for now. In fact, what was the opacity on it? 50%, 100 and 100. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that strong. So I'm just going to drop that opacity down to about 50%. And there we go. Okay, what we're going to do now is, okay, we can start to work on the rest of the main image. So, in fact, before we do that, we'll add some smoke as well. So what we'll do is, we'll select Messi there. We'll select a new layer and we'll call this smoke. Okay, I'm going to hit B for my brush tool. Okay, and I've got a brush from Flatten. Okay, I use this brush quite a lot in my tutorials, so if you're familiar with my channel, you've probably used it before. I'm going to bump it up to about 30%. Okay, I'll link in the description below where to get this brush from. You just have to sign up to their newsletter, but it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm just going to play around, bring in the smoke. And it gives a great effect. It's something I use quite a lot. And then I'm going to go drop it down 15, yeah, 12. Just around his feet. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press Command T on this one. I'm just going to flatten it down a bit. I'm going to hold Shift while I do that. There we go. I'm just going to use my arrow key just to nudge it down. Yeah, that's looking good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some curves to that as well. So I'm going to create a clipping mask there, and then I'm just going to drop it down and drop this down. See, it blends in quite nicely there. Maybe bring that up a little bit. You see the difference we've made there on the smoke. So it's just nice and subtle. And then what we're going to do is going to go to the smoke. Okay, convert it to a smart object to go back and edit it, but I'm content that I'm going to go to blur, Gaussian blur, and 8%, 8 pixels, and I'm happy with that. So that's our smoke. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on Lionel Messi himself. So I'm going to select Messi over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a shadow underneath him first. So a new layer. I'm going to drag it underneath Messi. There we go. I'm going to hit D on your keyboard first, then hit X. Make sure you've got black selected as your foreground colour. Okay, I'm going to hit B for my brush tool again. This time I'm going to go to my general brushes, I'm going to get a soft round brush and I'm going to flatten it out so it looks roughly how he would be standing. I'm just going to paint, got the opacity, we'll bump the opacity up to about 40. I'm just going to paint in, I'm going to hold shift and drag across. Might take some getting used to. I'm pressing Command Z here. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll enlarge it. Okay, I don't like that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it a little bit more. There we go, I'm going to drop the opacity down to about 30. Just to make it nice and subtle. It's going to be stronger where his feet are. Just coming off the front. There we go. I think that looks okay. You can always reduce the opacity as well if you're not keen, and change the overlay. How does that look? We'll go back to normal. In fact, I'm not keen on that. What I'll do is I'm going to start again. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. It took a while. It does not look in the best, but it's looking okay for the purpose of the tutorial. As you can see here, I went quite dark. And it's looking good, and so far we've got the shadow sorted. Okay, so we've got the shadow sorted, and next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the effects on Messi. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the blend mode of the ball as well to overlay while I'm here, and I'm going to reduce the opacity down to about 60%. So again, I'm just going to have a double check what I did there for the ball. Overlay 60%, yeah. And we gave it some levels and some curves as well. So I'm going to go into there, adjust the ball. So I'm going to go to adjustment layer, I'm going to go to levels, I'm going to clip it, and if I remember rightly, I was playing around with the sliders and went for something a little bit like that. Just give it that little bit of a glow, give it a little bit of a heavenly feel. And I'm going to go to curves as well, and I'm going to clip that one. Just going to see how we're looking there. Yeah, and I'm liking the look at that. So with the balls, add the layers, levels and curves. Okay, and with Messi, okay, what we're going to do is we've added our shadow, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go same again, levels and curves. What did we do? So where's Messi? So did we desaturate him? We didn't. Just going to give him, yeah, okay, yeah, happy days. So what I did with Messi is I dodged and burned. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to clip it. I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and make sure you've got 50% grey, normal, 100%. Click OK. It's going to change him like that. Change the blend mode to Overlay. And then you're going to head over, select O, Burn Tool. OK, and then what you can do is you can just give him that 3D effect. So I've got the mid-tone selected and the exposure at 25%. Okay, I'm just going to paint up roughly where the shadows are being, just burn it in a little bit. So I will do that and get back to you. So if I zoom out of there and we'll just check what we've done, you can see the effect that we're adding there. Okay, and on the same layer I'm going to go to my Doge tool and I'm just going to do the opposite. So I've got my highlight selected and I've got the exposure at 10. Okay, I'm just going to go around the outside, around his ankles, maybe just on the inside of his ankles there where the light might spill. And what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you noticed those eagle-eyes amongst you. I gave it like a bit of an outer glow, but I did that manually. It wasn't a like an outer glow through the layers adjustment. So just going to paint on just where the light was. So see there, I've given them a bit of a 3D feel. Select the Messi layer again, new layer. Okay, I'm going to hit X on my keyboard. I'm going to make sure I've got white selected there, and hit B for my brush tool, and flow at 100, opacity at 30. Just change my brush. Okay, and I'll reduce it in size. I'll start at the top. What I'll do is just paint over his hair like that, and then I'm going to really make it small, zoom out a bit. I'm just going to paint like that. I think I've just done that a bit too much, so I'll reduce that to 25. I'm just going to paint just so it's creeping on the edge. You can see the effect that we've had there. So I'm just going to paint round on his arms, and just on the inside here, and then just where the light is spilled, just on the inside of him. Okay, if you press wrong, just press Command Z. Command Z if you're American. Just around like that. It's a little bit too strong. Make it a little bit bigger, just come off the edge a little bit so it's softer. And same for this side. Like that. Down his legs. Maybe just around the bottom of his ankles there. And there. We'll zoom out. Yeah, and I'm liking the effect that we've got going on there. Okay, I'm going to play around with the ground as well, so I'm going to come back down here. We'll do with the sky in a minute. There's our landscape there, and same again, I'm going to add curves. Just going to play around with the curves. I'm going to darken it, so I'm going to clip it. Just going to darken that just like so. Maybe a little bit more. Looks good, looking good, and I think his shadow's blending in quite well there. Okay, and I'm going to dodge and burn this one as well. So, new layer, fill it with 50% grey. Same as before. Change blend mode to overlay, and not the ellipse tool. Sorry, where have you gone? There you go. The burn tool. Okay, what you can do is with this one, you can get rid of the smoke for a second. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go across some of the rocks. You're not going to see these too much. Okay, but it's just to give it that bit of that 3D feel. I'm going to plonk some dark paint on here as well. See the effect we've got going on already. Maybe we just burn it underneath him as well where he stood. Go to the Doge tool, and just on these flat rock faces. I really like the Doge and burn tool. It's really effective. Obviously take your time. Purpose of this tutorial, I am rushing a little bit, and I'm liking the look of that. What I'm going to do is I am going to create a new layer underneath it. Okay, I'm going to hit X, so I've got black selected, make it quite big, hit B for my brush tool. I'm using my bracket keys. Okay, I'm just going to paint along the bottom. Just want to darken it. It's going to be hidden by the smoke anyway. See, we darken it there. Hit X, so I've got white selected. And I'm just going to paint along the top. This is where my light's going to spill from the ball. Just paint that on there. Let's have a look. Let's put the smoke back on. Dodge and burn. Then there's our effect. Okay, and with the ball, what we can do, where's the ball? Here's the ball. So what we can do underneath, so on the stormy sky, create a new layer. So the new layer now is in between the ball and the sky. Okay, I'm just going to soft brush, I'm going to flatten it out like so. Nice and straight. Yeah, that's looking good. So I'm going to use my bracket keys, make it bigger, and if it's not quite straight, there we go. And you see there, I'm just going to give it that. That glow effect there. So it's come down from the sky. And yeah, I'm liking the look of that. So let's go check, see where we're at. In fact, what we need to do is with the sky as well. Okay, so create that into Smart Object. It's entirely up to you. What I'm going to go to do is I'm going to go to Blur. I'm going to go to Motion Blur. In fact, no, I'm not going to go to Radial Blur. Blur, Radial Blur. Okay, I'm going to go to Zoom. I've got it on the amount on 10. Quality, let's see what it looks like on best. Click OK. And you can see we just give it a little bit of a woomph, like it's like the clouds are moving towards you. Put it on, put it off there. You can see the difference we made. And it just makes helps Messi stand out a little bit. And now I'm going to just double check I've got all the layers that I wanted. So sky, yeah. Curves, yeah, yeah, we did all that. Yep, did that. Did that. Smoke, yep, curves. Yep, so all we're left to do now is add a colour lookup layer. And on this one I went for crisp warm. Was it crisp warm? What did I just look at? I just literally just looked at it there. Yeah, crisp warm. In fact, yeah, let's just check what we went for normal. We reduced it down to about 20%. So you can have a play around with them. It's absolutely loads. Change the blend modes. Normal, multiply. Go for multiply. I like that. Okay, so I'm really liking the look of this now. So I'm going to press Command, Shift, Alt, and E on my Mac, or Control, Shift, Alt, and E. I believe it would be on Windows. And that creates a stamp visible layer here. And I'm going to convert that to a smart object. I'm going to go to Camera Raw Filter. And I've already put these presets in. So what I'll do is I'll apply it. And what I can do is just talk you through them. So the exposure is at minus 0.7. Okay, just on this one I'm just going to reduce to 0.25. Play around with these settings. These might be different depending on how your images come out. Shadows plus 17. Play around with them. Yeah, so I've gone for plus 48 there, plus 20. Blacks, what will that do? Yeah, we'll keep that on 0. Clarity, went for plus 20. Yeah, plus 19, plus 20. Dehaze 0. Vibrance, around plus 20. See the difference that's making there. Saturation, do we need to saturate it a little? Maybe you could go to plus 10, okay, depends. Curves layer, okay, again I just made a sweeping S curve, okay, just dropped it down a little bit, raised it on the left, raised it in the middle right. Okay, sharpening, I left that alone. Adjustments, okay, the saturation, I dropped the oranges. Yeah, I dropped the oranges to -20 and I just increased them there on the luminous. Split toning, okay, with the shadows. So this gives a blue tinge. I went for 236 and just up the saturation to 4. Yeah, leave it at 4, nothing too mad. And the effects, okay, then I went for a vignette. Someone was asking me about this on Instagram in the DMs the other day. Okay, so this is a vignette, so you can see what it's doing there, and you can just play around with that. So I've gone for 39 there. Midpoint 62. Oh, don't know what's going on with my Photoshop. Yeah, take it back to 62, and that was it. And then click OK. And there is our image of Lionel Messi. If we just compare and contrast, that was a little bit more blue and darker, but I think I do prefer this one. So yeah, there you go. There's our Lionel Messi edit. I feel like it was a little bit rushed. Remember, because I'm talking too fast because I want to get the tutorial out. I don't want you guys getting bored. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you're new to Photoshop and you were just watching along, just trying to learn a few techniques, please do go check out my other videos. Create this channel to try and help people learn Photoshop. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing if you like the content. And I'll see you in a tutorial very soon. Thank you for the 5,000 subscribers, by the way, and I'll see you soon.